what the federal government does, what the state government does, and what the local government does. And that is a fundamental problem. When you talk to Infrastructure Australia, most of their projects are these big mega projects. We won't look at a project unless it's worth over 100 million or 200 million. So in other words, we're missing out on linking up these many projects in suburbs around Australia that could actually improve very substantially the prosperity, quality of life for a very large group of people, because we're looking at these big mega projects. So we need a different approach to thinking about infrastructure projects. I think the idea of mobility and light rail is a terrific one, and I just want to very briefly give you a couple of examples of that. The City of Sydney have been arguing for about 15 years now to get light rail into the City of Sydney. It was poo-pooed by the federal government, poo-pooed by the state government, but they did their own work. They said we have to link up to enable people to get around better, otherwise we're just going to be gridlocked all the time. Now the case has been made. The state government want to claim credit, the federal government's putting money in it, claim credit, but the work started locally. It was residents supported by an enlightened progressive council that were able to respond to people, and they were able to take the rubbish that was put on for years and say, no, we don't want that, we put in more buses, people want something. So you have to actually make the case for what you want, and that's why I like the idea of your approach, a community-based approach, to get the residents themselves to start putting forward solutions. Then they get tested by the experts, rather than the experts who are often linked in with groups that have got a financial interest in it, telling us what they're going to do. Start it from the other way around. And that's where I want to finish by talking just for a minute about local government and why community infrastructure is important. And I think there's a very important relationship between what Paul's trying to do in standing for national parliament to make sure a voice is heard, and what happens in local government. And that is this. On the 14th of September, we've got a referendum to redefine the role of local government for the first time, that it be accepted in the Constitution as part of the Australian society. At the moment, it's just an appendage of state government. When there was corruption in the Labor Council in Wollongong a few years ago, the Labor Party in government in New South Wales sacked it to keep the whole thing under control. You could not do that if there was proper separation between local government and state government. The related point is, when talking about the reform of local government, we need much more resources to be devolved down to local government. Regionalism, whether it be Wollongong, relationship with Shell Harbour, we have to put forward, say, these are our priorities to fix up community infrastructure, the light rail system, the bus system, the road infrastructure, the community health infrastructure. That voice is not being heard because it's all top-down little biscuits at the moment that sometimes get thrown down, rather than really resourcing local government to be able to do something. So I would like to see, and I think this is what the campaign essentially is about, is that a community-led campaign that starts talking about what our community priorities are. Community infrastructure, jobs, environmental amenity, all of these sorts of things, but with a voice being heard in Canberra rather than the other way round. And that's why I strongly support you, and I strongly support Paul's campaign.
I did say that my view of a federal parliamentarian is that they try and provide some leadership as well as listening to people, which is very important, but to be a coordinator and a facilitator rather than just a mouthpiece, which we haven't even had that. So I'll have a go at it. You can tell me whether you think this is a goer, and I want you to tell me whether you think it is or not. I think from this meeting we should aim to do something to set a process in place which gets you that bridge. Put it as bluntly as that, all right? How do we do it? I think from this meeting we should form an interim group, a little committee. I know people are going to say another committee, but this has never been a committee for the bridge. The project is, I think we should call it 2015. That bridge be under construction by 2015. If you don't give them a deadline, which is really going to pressure them, I'll never do it. we convene another one of these meetings and we ask everyone to bring along a neighbour, so we have 200 people. And at that meeting, we require David Farmer and Gordon Bradbury to attend that meeting. The 2015 committee to draw up a list of the agenda. I suggested on that agenda that by 2015 West Apto Bridge be under construction. Secondly, that the allocations to enable that construction to take place to be allocated for the next financial year by Wollongong Council. Thirdly, there be a full disclosure regarding the Section 94 levy to be given at the next public meeting to be held here in regard to the West Apto Bridge. And that meeting to take place in 3 weeks' time. I don't think you need to wait anymore. If you want to wait around, that's fine by me. But I think really, unless we do something that shows that you're fair income to those people out there, they think that you're not fair income. They think you're going to vote Labor again, you're going to return the local member, and it'll all die down. Meanwhile, you'll be sitting in cars stretching 2 kilometres.
Can I just add to that, Paul? I don't think it's fair that I have to travel 3 kilometres from where we live to the end of Wollongong Road, and it takes me 17 minutes.
Yeah, disgraceful.
17 minutes of my time to get to work. I've been stranded on Wollongong Road. It's just not.
So in terms of the stress, in terms of the safety, in terms of the health, just in terms of the decency and the way in which people are being treated with contempt, let's try and do something. Now, if someone's got a better idea, fantastic. I'm not dogmatic about these things. I've often put things forward and people say it's a completely stupid idea to sit down. I'm more than happy to be told that if someone's got a really good idea. But I haven't heard of anything in the last couple of weeks which would give us any confidence that they're going to do anything in Borelli Street. I haven't heard anything from the Labor Party from that meeting. I had a good former friend, he's not a friend of mine anymore because I'm running against his boss. But I didn't hear anything from them that said, oh, we're going to do something from this meeting. They walked out of that meeting thinking they'd solved the problem because by closing the meeting, you go back home and you grumble again and you complain and you sit in your cars idling away, and it doesn't mean anything politically. If we can show them that you're a fair income, that you're willing to get organised, that you have an objective which isn't just at some future date. By the way, Gordon Bradbury won't be Lord Mayor next time. Why should he worry? If this is pushed further and further back, why should he worry? David Farmer is worried about his next contract. Why should he worry about you? You've got to really push the door open. I'm suggesting that those little practical steps, we're not asking for a lot of commitment. Talk to your neighbours, make sure we bring them along. I suggest next time we have a bigger meeting, hopefully. This is a great meeting. But let's kick it off and let's put them under pressure. Now, a lot of people say, oh, don't do that, that'll upset them. Well, I think the other way of being nice guys and sitting there and not being able to do anything isn't working. So, my suggestion is that we do from this meeting nominate some people to organise the next bigger public meeting, that public meeting require the General Manager of Wollongong Council to come out here and explain to you where your money went, what he's been doing to implement this. It comes with the Lord Mayor, and that you have a real deadline for them to implement this. Some people here will be not only retired by the time this bridge is, I think I'll be dead before I see this bridge, the way it's going. Right? And that's on a reasonable estimation. I might live to 90. So 30 years, nothing's happened. There's no certainty that anything's going to happen in the next 30 years. So anyway, I think we've got to get organised out here. We've got to get really fair income about this. Otherwise, you know what they think of you? I'll tell you what they think of you, because they used to tell me of people like you in Horsley. Oh, they grumble, they're a pain in the neck, but they're not going to do anything. Let's show them that you are going to do something.
Thanks everyone. Look, one of the things I like about Paul is he leaves his door open and he listens to you. You know, but he won't just say, "Hey, I'll listen to you," and it goes in one ear and out the other. Okay, he really will try and listen to you, even if he doesn't agree with you. And so today, here's our chance. You know, if you've got another issue besides the bridge and access and transport, an infrastructure for this place. You know, here's your chance to let Paul know. So I'm going to throw it open to the floor, and if you want any questions, anything that's important to you when you're living out here, let's hear about it.